And welcome to the Survivor Series preview. We are the Dadley Boyz of WhatCulture. I'm Adam Wilborn, joined by Michael Hamflett and Michael Sidgwick, here to look ahead to this weekend's Survivor Series WarGames PLE. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube, where we do daily wrestling podcasts where we review Raw, SmackDown, the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. AEW Dynamite, AEW Collision, pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a round of the week, complete with a bloody good quiz, of course, on WrestleCulture. As I said, though, joined by Hamflett and Sidgwick to look ahead to WarGames. How you feeling?
Well, same as I do every year at this time. I've been fooled once again into thinking I will enjoy a WarGames match.
I'm once again ready to be hurt again.
Triple H knows his way around booking one of these, truly, the build-up to one at least. And then the match is, always drab, always drab. I'm the low guy on the good ones. That's the problem, so in some respects, I'm the issue. But there's maybe been 10, 12 at this point, and there's probably been 2 or 3 that I've earnestly liked. I will say that as well as the build being good for both, the opportunity for drama as a result of those builds seems higher than in previous years. It isn't just, we've managed to arrive quite organically at 5 over there, 5 over there, and then we've just got to have a match with big gaps in the middle and big periods where nothing of great significance can happen.
Yeah.
They have built enough into these teams where there are little pockets of drama before all 5 are in and you get the match beyond. But, I'm more excited for what you can speculate on than what might necessarily play out. That's the reality of the WWE WarGames, I think. Hyped as out, but also kind of waiting a bit of disappointment with the body of these 45, 50-minute epics.
Yeah.
I think the way in which Paul Levesque and his team have engineered the men's WarGames match in particular, in terms of the booking, it's just so elegant. So unbelievably elegant, gripping. Like, how often, right, in pro wrestling do you sort of, you strap in, you sit down, you're on your couch, you're watching a telephone, whatever, and if you are our age as well, we should caveat this with, or I should caveat this with, if you're our age, inside out in granular detail, how these stories work, so much so that you can make a meme out of it, and it's just a pretty predictable form generally of, standing tall on the Monday or the Friday. That means they're probably going to lose.
Yeah.
At the weekend, when the turns are going to happen, the twists and turns. That there's certain obligations for you to get through. Of right, they need to do a heat angle in a couple of weeks. That means like a verbal spar here that doesn't really descend into violence, and you know what you're getting with this men's WarGames match. Levesque has kept you guessing every single step of the way, has tended very faithfully to existing relationships, even if they have no bearing on the actual match, just to enhance other plots that will follow. Not red herrings for the sake of it, to be cute, to try and work people, even though there's an element of that as well with, for example, Seth Rollins.
Yeah, this time last week we thought he was going to be part of the team.
It's not just this sort of empty red herring where it's like, right, okay, they'll throw these marks off the scent, because what you're doing, there are permutations with Seth and what he thinks of people who have teamed with Roman, because now Seth, when he eventually feuds with CM Punk, will say, for example, how am I to believe that this man who comes in and he hasn't destroyed everything yet, but he will, how am I supposed to believe I'm not a toxic presence act when you willingly teamed with Roman Reigns? And then he could even kayfabe the problem with CM Punk, because the problem with CM Punk realistically doesn't get that much of a reaction when he himself tries to throw those lines out in the arenas. I think the booking of this and the kind of soft reboot of the Solo Sikoa character, another masterstroke. The prospect of Jacob Fatu, the way in which he's been protected, presumably he's going to kill Jey Uso tonight. That's the way it's going to go. The thought of him coming in as the 4th man, the game changer of, it's very patterned of all the baby faces coming out to save the day. Again, it's WarGames. You really actually feel like the day will need to be saved when Jacob Fatu's in there,
Yeah,
like,
that awesome tsunami moonsault thing on Roman. immediately establishing that as this. Oh God, they've got a new double team death.
Yeah.
blow, and you got 2 cages to do
He's
that with.
so explosive and incredible. He could probably moonsault from one turnbuckle and make it into the other ring. I just feel like, I'm with Hamflet as well. I've got really broad problems with WarGames as a modern genre. I'll speak more about them when we get into that men's match more deeply, because this is meant to be just the opening. But I just think Levesque's booking's really, really, really strong here.
Let's start with the women's War Games match. I assume they're going to sort of top and tail the PLE with it, of course. Babyfaces: Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Naomi, Io Sky, and Bayley. We don't know that for certain, but it's taped, and we can all but assume Bayley is the 5th member of the team. She's on the poster after all. Versus representing the Judgment Day, Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. Candice LeRae and Tiffany Stratton. Who you got?
I've got the babyfaces, and it's not just as simple as, spoiler, I've got the heels in the main event, but I do think, again, it's a bit like the advantage thing. Triple H tends to try and split these things up and give you a little bit of everything, from insisting on having 2 War Games matches. We've done a video preview going out on the main channel, so some of these are going to be repeated, but
We'll be out first, so don't worry about it.
oh, good, yeah. In which case, there's some brand new stuff. Like there is a glimmer of hope in this. For the last couple of years, pretty dreadful and disappointingly so, women's division in WWE as booked by Triple H, considering what he did in NXT, spotting how necessary it was that WWE caught up with 20, 30 years of parity and equality. More, but I just mean in terms of pop culture and the representation of women, seemed to take that enormous stride forward in NXT and has never put in quite that much effort in his role on the main roster. And then of late, it was first happening on SmackDown. They are forcing it through on both shows with belts. We'll see. And this War Games in particular seems to have been this destination that they've needed as a creative team to bring a bit more life to some of these stories, some of these characters, in order to make this arrangement of women feel organic on both sides. Like Liv Morgan and Nia Jax, opponents at this Saudi Arabia show. How is it that we find themselves on the same team like less than a month later? Well, here's how. And then you get the story playing out.
They're both unbearable.
Well, partly, yeah, but and then you've now got the Jade Cargill who done it, and Bayley's finally.
We got done. Got done by it all. She's not actually injured.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Working the sheets.
Working the sheets.
Bayley finally earning Bianca Belair's trust, but is it happening at the worst time because of the Jade Cargill attack? And that allows the real perpetrator to hide in plain sight. The overdone teases of Tiffany Stratton cashing in on the champion, but now in a position where she's going to be locked in a cage with 2 champions at the same time. There's potential for that to be interesting again when you're starting to get a bit bored of the Nia Jax teases. There's just a lot here that makes you realise, you know what, there are some character dynamics finally starting to form. Overdue. Then you go back to the fact that Candice LeRae is very good in this setting.
Yes.
Io Sky climbs cages and puts pins on her head.
Oh my God.
There are things that you are allowed to expect from these matches. Rhea Ripley tends to really, really bring it in a War Games setting, So I think there's enough moving parts to make this one of the better ones. The division, like I say, feels, even if they're faking it, in good enough health that you're going to see all the various overlapping storylines. I'm going with the baby faces, and I'm going with Rhea Ripley pinning Liv Morgan with the Riptide. A bunch of these. Finally, she's got her. And now at Saturday night's main event, or possibly on the Netflix debut, or whenever, now she gets a rematch, one-on-one, and then probably Liv wins that, and they spin off in different directions. But Rhea's done this before in this War Games setting, just looked like the dominant winning figure. You've already got giants on the heel side, so the fact that she's able to dispose of them enough to get this seemingly cathartic victory over Liv, when really the title matches where she'll just fall short again. She's looked great as well. Aesthetically, as well as how good Rhea Ripley is. The face mask and the sort of new look with her gear was really visually prepped her for this match as well. I'm really, really keen to see the various story beats play out that will hopefully not make the body of the match dull.
I'm altogether lower on this. I get the feeling that more so than the men's, they'll just plunderize this to absolute death. And WWE plunder is a really specific strain of I don't care. Kendo sticks, bins, fire extinguishers.
Woman runs to the cage, goes into the ring, slides a weapon in, gets in.
Yeah.
Again.
It's just going to feel incredibly repetitive and patterned and contrived, which is tonally the absolute last thing you want in a match like this, provided your expectations are not bedrock low for a match like this. Happily mine are. I've learned the lesson belatedly that these things just suck, that they are overlong, that they very, very, very rarely capture the energy of what they're used to. Ibu of Wrestle Purist made a great point about the old War Games. I know you're not particularly high on 1992. I absolutely love it. I like the Great American Bash early ones for what they are, which is not very much. But Ibu made the point of you've got 10 blokes who are really, really sort of powerful. I'm not just saying this because I'm previewing the women's one. I'm saying it's going to be a problem in the men's match as well. But this idea of like 10 strapping jock athletes just throwing haymakers at each other suited that match and the structure. Nowadays, the added weapons in the intricate sequences that you see in every single match just makes it feel so contrived. And it is a stipulation of its time. We've talked about very quickly moving to AEW. Anarchy in the Arena is much better. Anarchy in the Arena is so much better. So with this, I'm just expecting, particularly with Raquel and Nia being on one team, a lot of laborious heat segments, a bit of a hope spot with a weapon, and then back and forth we go with that exact same volleying structure, and just I'm expecting it to be tedious. I will say one positive thing about it. There should be a pretty cool, we need to gang up on Nia Jax to take her out moment, like, I don't know, put a bit on her head and smack it with chairs and kendo sticks.
Yeah.
Put her through a table or whatever. Like, she should, like, they've protected her really well in the booking. There could be we need to solve this bloody Nia problem once and for all. It's just got a good face. It's got a great, expressive, dick-headed face as Nia Jax. Compliment, feature not bug. The closest possible thing to Chris Hero in the ROH CCW Cage of Death. Chris Hero's face. And it's probably his best individual performance ever, that. Maybe Nia Jax can study it. That would be my advice anyway.
I've got the spot for you as well. Yeah, she's setting up to hit the Annihilator on Io Sky, for example. So she's up, she's about to jump off, and she's caught as she jumps by a team of Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley who carry her and powerbomb her through her tables on the opposite side of the ring or something like that. Tell them about your spot with Tiff.
So, one of my all-time favourites.
Sorry, what was yours? I missed that.
Big powerbomb through a table with Nia. It's actually physically possible. I'll get some more preposterous stuff later on, don't worry.
Yeah, one of my all-time favourite WarGames spots in the WWE version of the match is when you have the double Tower of Doom with simply Adam Cole left in between.
I love that.
Can't believe his luck, does the Adam Cole.
I think that's the best one to this day.
Just treats himself to a pose because he's the only one left standing.
Yeah.
You do a version of that, but you have Tiffany Stratton as the one sat on the post, and she looks upon the bodies and sees two champions down, and kind of like, I pitched an impossible version where somehow the briefcase has found its way in the ring. Maybe she's brought it in as a weapon or whatever.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, she's brought it in as a weapon. She sees all the bodies strewn down, and then she's got the case, and she like lobs it maybe over to the person at ringside as if to say, I'm cashing in right now.
Yeah.
And then like either Nia or Liv start to rise or something like something like that.
That could be a way. That could be. That could
be
be a way in to get a pop in these matches because they're few and far between.
Another one I thought of as well. So, like I was saying, how Bayley should take bullets for Bianca Belair in this one to further prove her loyalty in a time when she's definitely going to be accused of this Jade Cargill attack at some point. Bianca, now that Jade is gone, kind of illustrating her. Need you, like her strength and stuff. I would quite like them to see if they can do. Remember Cena getting Big Show and Edge? I wonder if they could do it with Nia and Tiffany.
Jesus.
Like it's looking like she's about to double KOD them or something like that. You know, like just there. Yeah, Jade's good, but I'm the EST.
Yeah.
I've kind of got, because now while she's gone, it's almost like Bianca kind of finding herself, oh, it's great you're back. We're getting the team back together? No, like something like that.
I have Bianca getting her hair tied to one side of the cage, so she's stuck in one of the rings whilst not all of her teammates, but a few of her teammates just get beaten up in front of her. She gets taken out and they tie her up again. I don't know, something like that. I feel hair, or maybe she's tied up in the cage or something. Yeah. Hair stuff always good with Bianca. But are you going baby faces to win this one as well?
Don't care.
Okay.
I mean, do you? I don't.
Yeah, I do, yeah. I'm into it enough. I think
it makes sense for Rhea to get the pin over Liv, as you say, because
both champions
that
on the
singles
heel side
match
as well.
is coming.
Yeah.
Before we'll save the men's war games for the main event, so let's move on next to the triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship. It is the champion Braun Breaker versus Sheamus versus Ludwig Kaiser.
rarely is a three-way or a triple threat the best version of a combination, but I think it is here. And I think they've maybe realised that by kind of overdoing the Sheamus and Kaiser combinations and still finding what fits about Bron Breakker. I love him. I've said this before. You do not get a perfect hit rate out of him, but I've seen enough to love him and just keep my fingers crossed that it's going to be a great night. That's kind of where I'm at with my expectations of my emotional responses to Bron Breakker at this point. There should be enough movement that you are always awaiting a Bron Breakker flurry, whether he's being beaten down or not. And then in the meantime, the brawl between Ludwig Kaiser and Sheamus can't get boring, or their dual attempts to try and keep Bron Breakker down and out, because every time he does fire up, he's 100 miles an hour. That can be interesting. Like the fact they have to sometimes work together just so they can get back to working against each other. I do like the finish potentially being Sheamus getting as close as he possibly can, but letting his kind of heart rule his head or something. So I pitched the idea of a Celtic cross. So he's got Kaiser up because he finally wants to do it, this Intercontinental title at this point, this last stand for him. But what's he doing? He's leaving his body completely exposed, and you can't do that when you've got a 100-mile-an-hour guy with a spear in him. So that's where Bron Breakker just spears Sheamus, and the bodies just kill out of this pile of bodies, allowing Bron to just literally stand atop the tower, The best, you're talking about tape to watch, the best tape to watch here is obvious, isn't it? Even if this is like a Pepsi Max version of the WrestleMania 39 Intercontinental title three-way, you're doing a pretty good job.
Yeah.
The same fundamental style. You've got three hard-hitting, a style that only certain people should really do, but three that are good at it. Folding in Sheamus's almost desperation to get this belt, and seeing it's so great because he's just this guy 1 minute, this guy who betrays his age by his body and his work and his strikes. And then he sort of turns on this Terry Funk switch when it comes to the Intercontinental title, and he almost reduces himself to the old man at his last stand. It's such a valuable tool in these IC title matches. Kaiser is the guy that really wants it, but Bron on the day just kind of too good for both.
I'm higher than I thought I would be on this, considering Ludwig Kaiser and Sheamus is sort of it is the Kofi Kingston versus Dolph Ziggler of Paul Levesque's WWE.
Yes,
this back and forth, mid-card, endless feud that just never stops. And it's this again. Yeah. Are we joking? One of the reasons why I'm into this is Ludwig Kaiser. Is this his first ever singles PLE match? I know he's done some stuff with Imperium and the Brawling Brutes at the early phase.
I think it must be.
It's got to be. Which means that unless they are specifically told, do 10 minutes and don't do too much, which is always a weird thing with WWE. Maybe not weird, but it's not the AEW thing. And maybe this is a good thing, realistically, where it's right, everyone go out and have the best match you can. There's going to be a lull with that.
There are nights where you're the investment and nights where you've got to protect the investment.
Yeah. AEW doesn't do that. WWE does. There are advantages to both. This feels like one of the matches where they're just going to be right, okay, don't go out there and have match of the night. There's a match that exists to be match of the night, so don't tread on its toes. I do feel like with 5 matches, he could he did it with TakeOver, of everyone have the best match they possibly can. We're only out here for 2.5 hours in the ring, so why the hell not? So it's weird that doesn't really happen on the main roster. So that is the asterisk here of, this could just be pretty made almost weirdly by design. There's also the idea that Kaiser, this being his first singles PLE match, we'll just go ahead and say it. It is.
I believe so. I was just checking. I didn't see any other evidence.
He'll want to impress. He'll want to prove, I can be the person that you see me as. They've tried doing vignettes with him. There's always a sense that they think that he could be really something, but they don't necessarily feel it enough to go out and push him. He's a chance, kid. Go and respect the business.
Make yourself famous.
Yeah. I just wish... the result's nailed on. It's very early into the combined reign of Bron Breakker. I expect this not to be the end. One thing Levesque was great at in the You-Woo title picture.
Oh, yes.
Ooh, you.
Ooh, yeah. Ooh, it's for me?
Yeah. And Paul Heyman did a great job of putting this over. You thought it was Sami Zayn in Montreal. It had to be. No. It had to be Drew McIntyre in Cardiff. No, well, it must be Triple H. It's going to have to be Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 39. No. And then, obviously, a year later it was. He hasn't really... I mean, that's an incredible feat of booking. It really is, looking back on it. Considering it all worked out in the end.
Only just.
Despite The Rock's best efforts.
Yeah.
I'll take that, thanks.
He should strive to be doing that more often than not. I don't think he's even tried with this Intercontinental footed. Sheamus should have cut some kind of go-home promo and not just angle on Raw, outlining. It's one thing for Wade Barrett to say it every now and then. Sheamus should have outlined, this is why it means so much to me, and here's why I'm going to win. So you could really start.
I ain't got much time left.
I haven't got. Really stress that. Yeah. He didn't. Therefore, when he wins, he will do that. That's the thing.
Yes.
I think he'll be win or retire when the time comes. You know?
Yeah. So when he, I agree. I haven't thought about it, but I agree. So make me think. Oh, he has to win it by doing that promo. It's all a bit unfussy, build, a bit contrived. But guys will want to show out. Breaker is way better when there's more than two people in the ring. Wolf Dog's being proof of that. And Sheamus is always great. I love the idea of Breaker running around both rings, going to spear Ludwig Kaiser. Kaiser leapfrogs him out the way, bro kick in the face.
Oh, yeah. I'm once again asking that WWE uses both rings for matches other than the WarGames matches.
This really pisses me off. It's while we're just on WarGames in that genre, why hasn't Tony Khan let like the likes of Commander, and I know it's not likely to happen anymore, but Rey Fenix just go absolutely insane in these matches with all those ropes to play with? He did it with Nick. He let Nick Jackson did the last time they had the two rings set up, 2023 or the year before. It's insane. Just be creative. You've got like a new environment. Play with the new environment.
I have a spot in every match that's not a WarGames match that I want to see that involves both rings. Yeah, I have Bron Breakker powering himself up like Sonic before you fire off.
Just like going in a ball, like a forward roll. I should have said, is this one physically impossible, Will?
Yeah, usually.
It's not hearing a noise like a screwdriver.
To speed above them. Now, there is a version of events. I'm not suggesting this is going to happen, but there is a really fun version of events where at the end of this PLE, Gunther is obviously still World Heavyweight Champion, and Ludwig Kaiser is Intercontinental Champion. And by the end of the year, only one of those is holding a belt, and it's not Gunther. But I don't think that's going to happen. I agree with both of you. I think Bron Breakker wins. My booking slightly differs from yours, which is Sheamus is going to do it. He's going to win the IC title. Ludwig Kaiser's the woozy woo. He said, he's the Mortal Kombat, finish him, Mortal Kombat character. Runs up, and I think they've got the timing for this, especially with Bron's speed, the fact that you can just be like, do it now. He literally has kicked Ludwig Kaiser, has Sheamus, and his foot has barely touched the mat as it comes back down when he gets speared out of his goddamn shoes.
Yeah, I love that. Do both spots that was just talked about.
Yeah. Let's talk about US title. It is L.A. Knight versus Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yeah.
Way.
I find it so hard.
He's got stuff on his eyes now, Sige.
Yeah.
So?
Yeah.
So what?
I think it's so difficult to like be positive about this strange investment they've got in Shinsuke Nakamura. And I say that because it is an investment, because this is the third wrestler, and I might even be forgetting one, in Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, and now LA Knight, where WWE I don't even have like massive tours anymore, but they still run towns every now and then. And you need this heel to lose to a champion for an audience. And it really doesn't matter who that heel is, but like Nakamura gets picked on TV. They make some nicer videos. It's a nicer produced character than it ever was under Vince McMahon, don't get me wrong, but it ultimately just exists to pretend that he's a threat on television so that when you buy a ticket to WWE in your town, they have the fight and then the babyface wins. And yet it also creeps onto like PLE or onto TV, and it just doesn't and can't deliver. That's the thing. It's not even that we're going, is this the time? Is anybody really I have liked the change in Nakamura aesthetic, and To be fair, like,
Bit of you.
bit of me that you just sort of rebadge a character. They've rebadged it, you fool. Like, but he looks a bit different, and then his strikes, to be fair, on LA Knight have looked pretty good. But like, that's Nakamura. His strikes can look good. It's in the match where they're boring. Like, you can still he can still hit a decent kick for a oh my god, and then as long as you move on straight away, you might be energized by it. But it's LA Knight versus Shinsuke Nakamura. I just refuse to believe this can be entertaining. I wish I wasn't this way about it, but. Yeah, the more I talk about this match, the more I think they might do like a shock title change. LA Knight losing the title. I know.
I've got that as well.
This character is
Give it
like
the G-Nev.
this character is like too. It's Nakamura character. This is what I mean. This rebadging.
That's so easily worked.
Well, the thing is, right? The last time he said this, it was when Ethan Page won the NXT title. You know,
Pasty bet, bro.
not this time. The character being 2 weeks old and then losing the title is terrible. So then you're like, well, what, like screwy finish? Maybe, I guess. But LA Knight losing the title now, when he can then sort of talk his way into being like a Royal Rumble favourite. He's not going to win, but LA Knight would think he would win. You know, he fancies...
A lot of people, you could say, you could set it up as like, oh, this like genuine priest.
Yeah, the most competitive Royal Rumble ever because the mid-card's strong. Like, it's not the worst timing for him to lose a title because he's about to enter a match where he could win the big one. Nakamura's video. I did like, genuinely, this idea that Nakamura is accusing LA Knight of being entirely powered by this United States title. He is scared that this run, this entire life that he finds himself in, that completely identifies who he is, falls apart if he loses that title. The stakes are there based on that. The match is going to stink. Like, I'm sorry, it's not going to be any good.
It'll be trickly, heatless.
Yep.
The work's not going to be... It's one of those matches where it's hard to describe when they happen. Oh, the match was just there, or it's a nothing match. It's easier to, and I've done this bit before, but it's the only way to do it. It's easier to throw words at it that it isn't. Is it exciting? Does it look painful? Is it emotional? Does it look like, Christ, they're probably hitting each other too hard, if anything? I mean, the worst part of me loves this. And I'm sorry, but I do. Do you really care about those kickouts? Is it so spectacular? You thought, I didn't think my jaw could drop in 2024. You thought you'd seen it all, but my God, there goes Will Ospreay doing it yet again. It's got absolutely nothing, this. It's got nothing. I hope my babyface hero prevails. It's part of the problem with LA Knight is that he's great crack in the builds and the promos. When he gets in the ring, it's just like... It's a baby face. It's just when he's fighting back, I'm not like, oh, come on, I like you. It's not like Sami Zayn, you know? Or Daniel, someone he plays a face. It's LA Knight. I don't know, this is going to be
It feels sort of nailed on for the fourth match on this card, doesn't it?
Aye, yeah, it's a...
second, I think.
Yeah, fourth or second, I should have said.
I don't know, they probably want to send a dog out there, take a big old sloppy
He got winning.
Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yeah.
Have you seen that Instagram reel?
Because, like you say, what are we doing? He's done the stuff with Save. He obviously did loads with Cody at the start of the year, bull rope matches and the like. So I just think, you have to do it. And even if it's just a flip-flop to put it back on LA Knight at Saturday night's main event. I don't know. Like you say, it's such a weird, immediate...
I find it insulting.
It is.
Care about Shinsuke Nakamura again? No.
Having said that,
it's been 2 weeks. You can imagine just beating that guy. I'm back and like, I'm better than ever. I've lost.
Yeah. So I've got two spots. Number one is LA Knight going to do his jump up from the second rope to the top rope to hit the elbow. LA Knight, thing, but Shinsuke, wise to that, rolls into the other ring, and so LA Knight jumps up onto the turnbuckle, jumps onto the other turnbuckle, and hits it that way. That's one spot.
I love that you've pitched that, considering
combined 100 years old.
Like 33% of the time, he actually doesn't land on the ropes, and I love that you said a second jump.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah,
after a WarGames match as well.
Yeah,
and the other one is.
They're 100 years old combined.
LA Knight's got this match one. This is slightly easier and a bit of a cheat code for me to say, you know what? I know you said that 95% of this match was dull, but I'd really like the finish because LA Knight's going to hit him with a BFT. Shinsuke rolls out of it, rolls into the other ring, and LA Knight goes after him, leans across the double ring, and Shinsuke turns around, Miss him. LA Knight. My bloody eyes! Falls down to his knees. Kinshasa in the back of the head. 1, 2, 3. New champ.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a lot.
Let's talk about
totally fair.
the World Heavyweight Championship match. Gunther versus Damian Priest. We've spoken a lot about this with regards to the fact that none of us think Gunther is losing the title, but they've done a really good job about undercutting his aura.
Yeah, I'm slap bang in the middle of both of you in terms
Which is
of
so counterintuitive, by the way, but yeah, it's worse.
Yeah, it's only with someone who's not protected, but like...
You can't Gunther up.
Yeah.
No. And it's coming off the back of, Gunther sells defeats incredibly well because they don't happen very often. So it becomes
There's a real gravity.
Yeah, it's the biggest thing in his life when he's just lost a big match. It's only happened twice, and each time it's been really effective.
Another competitive advantage that WWE has just taken from AEW, by the way.
The wins and losses matter, and I'm right between both of you on this SummerSlam match because I'm banging into the stories and just love the drama while acknowledging it's kind of the best Damian Priest can do, and that's still only okay for Gunther. I think Sid, you were way lower. I think Wilborn, you were way higher. I think match-wise, this is going to fall right there again. So I don't think any of our minds are going to be changed about the quality of what these two can provide in ring. But I do think this story will help the first half before, and again, as Sid says, a little bit counterintuitive, but Gunther as a heel in the second half, finds something in reserve which you can still spin as villainous because he's this world champion, and it's almost and now he's more arrogant than ever. This is the one thing we didn't want to happen. We've talked about the flashing red weak spot on Gunther is not an arm or a leg or a stomach, it's the brain. For the very first time, this man, who not only will physically dominate you, but has mentally got the edge as well, has lost that edge for the first time. And what's happened when he's lost that? Damian Priest has started physically assaulting him. So a second weakness. This is uncharted territory for a Gunther opponent, which Damian Priest will be able to exploit and do his best at. But oddly, Gunther winning is sort of bold booking because this is the baby face with all the cards and losing. Damian Priest here is good to go, the best opportunity you'll ever have, and he will lose. Gunther will win. This is when you cash in all the work you do on Gunther, the multi-finisher man, because that doesn't work, that doesn't work, that doesn't work. This works. They haven't had to use that much of late, but in the Intercontinental title run in particular, he was so good at always having another way to win. That's why you spend months and months building up different finishers. Again, I would argue that's an AEW thing because Cody was brilliant at that once upon a time.
Danielson did it early as well.
Yeah, you just beat him with a figure four. When you establish a character like that.
That's a Gunther thing historically as well.
Yeah, it's such a benefit in times like this when now it seems like nothing's going to work. Well, it turns out everything will. Damian Priest will lose, but there's an honour to that. And we've kind of all speculated on, there's kind of never been a better time for Gunther to feel like he's the best in the world.
To be honest, that's some really, really good analysis. I had no thoughts going into this match other than the first one was a bit bad. Gunther might drag something main event adjacent out of Priest. But you've sparked something in me. Should he debut a new finisher?
Ooh. I was thinking something like that as he was saying that as well.
Debut a new finisher that he's never done, with the idea being that, Jesus Christ, just when you think Gunther is a mere mortal, that he's run out of road, that the great invincible aura's gone, he is just casually discovered or, perfected the technique of...
Go to sleep.
Yeah.
Something like that.
An anaconda vice, because the sleeper's not working and he switches it round. And hang on, yeah.
To segue into the Punk feud, and then he can say your mind games don't work.
Because what's he got? He's got the powerbomb, the splash, the sliding lariat, the sleeper.
Yeah.
I mean, that's four. That's already kind of enough, isn't it? It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Can't do a pile
take
drive.
any of them.
Can't do a pile driver. I mean, you can obviously execute one, but you can't do it considering what that's been told, how that's been sold, rather.
You've got Braun Breaker on the card, so you can't do a spear or a version
There's
of
enough
that.
spears kicking around. Yeah, there always is. Yeah, I kind of worked myself into this anaconda vice finish, actually. But
I like that. An avalanche. You don't see many tiger suplexes anymore.
Pepsi plunge.
No.
Pepsi plunge.
Stop thinking about CM Punk, mate.
Sorry, I can't.
We'll get to him in a second.
You don't see many tigers, do you? With good reason, they are like this. Imagine taking a tiger. I mean, that's why it's such a move.
Yeah.
That's an avalanche tiger. Why not?
Avalanche on Damien. That's
awesome.
like on the 6.5 foot Damien Priest. That'd be amazing.
Yeah. Go for it. Didn't Swerve do an Avalanche tiger at Danielson?
Maybe.
All in.
He did something like that.
He
off
did
the top
something
was
like
a
that,
death
look,
blow,
yeah,
wasn't it?
I'll be honest, I think we were all in an orgasmic trance.
Yeah.
So, Gunther obviously retains. I told you the spot that I know it excited you. I think on the Raw review, maybe.
Did it?
Yeah. The Razor's Edge into the other ring.
Oh, yeah.
From Damien Priest.
Oh, yeah.
But I do like the idea.
Treat yourself to Hernandez border toss compilation because my God, he shook people about.
I do like the idea of at one point, the classic Gunther, come on, are you pathetic, you loser, right? Don't do that. Don't have Damien Priest do that the other way either, because that's a bit weird with the dynamics.
Now you'd love that, mate.
But like a trading back and forth between the two of them, and Gunther's the one who's like, I think I'm going to go in the other ring to catch a bit of a breather, actually. And suddenly you're like, geez, and that's his lowest ebb until, like you say, he pulls out all of the arsenal.
Pepsi plunge.
The Pepsi plunge. But yeah, Gunther retains the World Heavyweight Championship. Right, let's get to the main event. It is the New Bloodline. Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, Tongaloa, even though I don't know who that is on the poster that I can see, and Bronson Reed, the honorary member of the New Bloodline, of course, versus the Bloodline, the OG Bloodline, that being Roman Reigns, Jay and Jimmy Uso, Sami Zayn, and CM Punk.
Oh my God.
Oh, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing to even just think about the visuals, let alone what's going to take place in the match and the order of events and all that. We are recording this before SmackDown, so there's going to be some sort of face-off, I think, moderated by Paul Heyman tonight between
Oh my God.
Roman and Punk. So we'll have
That's what I want from my
clearer,
wrestling, baby.
we'll have a clear understanding
Conversations.
of what they're prepared to do for one another on the night before they presumably go. Like Roman said it when it was like, they'd said, well, we could try Cody. And he's like, no, that's over, not him right now. So Roman is currently this character will broker kind of one-night deals with people. It doesn't mean we're friends, I am genuinely way more fascinated.
Finishes and they go, come on, Paul, at the same time.
Yeah. And then the camera cuts off, so wrestling stops.
Yeah,
Freeze, we don't know.
See you tomorrow.
I am so captivated, and again, I'd like to think this is, elaborating on Sidgwick's point about how amazing the booking is, so captivated by something as simple as the order of entrance on the babyface side, what it says about who goes when. This time last year, Jey Uso famously did the yeet on top of the cage, biggest star in the frigging world. Him doing that on top of that cage this year was like Roman Reigns and CM Punk are looking up and they're being like, he's the big star, whatever. Like that's a possibility. Similarly, Roman Reigns has previously sat at the back of the cage while his men go in and do the bidding for him. This babyface one might want to go first. It's a different tribal chief. He's trying to lead the right way this time around, so he might want to lead from the front. The year when the Bloodline, when it was like 2022, and they all were decked out in like bright red Bloodline, and Roman just still turned up in his black. Like this year, is he going to want to like blend in a bit more? The Punk is going to get Bloodline gear. Oh my God, it's already starting. But like, I want a camera on the cage if it's Punk and Roman in that cage at the same time. Every look, every glance shared between the two of them is like, it's like a WrestleMania match in waiting, and they're just this close to each other, and they've got to be on the same side and all of that. Like just the babyface team drama, as it should be, by the way, is so integral to this. The Bloodline, the heels will win. I think the heels will win, and I think part of that is going to be because this team is still a makeshift arrangement. Like Bronson Reed is as good as brothered into the Bloodline at this point. He's happy to throw the ones up. It's great for Solo Sikoa's clown act to actually have some legitimate like confidence to sort of use now going forward in the next part of the story. Paul Heyman could turn, so there's a way for them to potentially win. Could find him, like he asked CM Punk in the summer, take me with you, and obviously Punk didn't. Roman Reigns wasn't really there for him when he got powerbombed through the table in Madison Square Garden. The old-fashioned Paul Heyman, the Paulie Dangerously of the old WarGames, would have a key and lock his supposed former friends in a cage 5-on-2 or something for Punk and Roman to get beaten down in some awful heat scenes, something like that. So I just really like the idea of the baby faces not quite having enough and all of these various individual dynamics being part of that. I want to see Sami Zayn potentially do a stunner or a pop-up powerbomb or something like that, because what hangs over this is who have shown their loyalty to Roman Reigns, because look what it's done to Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes. Like, me and Sidge have talked about this Cody and KO thing. They are not even mentioning that Sami Zayn is outright teaming, wearing the shirts again with the Bloodline, and Kevin Owens is pissed off with Cody. It's like, well, if he's pissed off with Cody, God damn. Seth Rollins, like, I said no, but it wasn't for you to say yes, you like that. And I use those words because that's what Seth Rollins was saying 12 months ago when CM Punk first appeared back on the stage. Like, this is not hyperbolic from my point of view. I find these dynamics absolutely like electrifying. And that leads me, of course, to the closing moments where The Rock could stand on the stage.
Oh my God.
And we pitched an idea on the news this morning that I've kind of fallen in love with.
Marks.
Where
I'd probably feel it on the night as well.
Heading into the ring, Solo, presumably the last one out of the heel cage, leaves the Ulufala hanging on one of those mini cages. And then when The Rock comes out to close the show, he like points at the ring. Heels could have won, and he's still pointing at the ring with all this. And he just takes the Ulufala with him. Is that a sign of support to Solo Sikoa, or is it...
You're my henchman, mate.
I was in charge of this all along. Yeah. Like, it is utterly, utterly captivating, even if the first half an hour of the match is dread.
Well, I was going to say, let's just bring it down a notch. Jesus Christ. Let's peel you off the wall a little bit.
Okay.
Let's peel you off the wall and, like, use our common sense and our reason. And
It's fun to feel like this, though. This is the game. Yeah. This is what it's all about. This is promotion, and we're watching a wrestling promotion. You're supposed to get this hyped. You're supposed to have stage a million things to think about.
Oh, God, it makes me sick when you go on about Levesque like that. Let's just, calm down. Be rational. Think about what comes before and how much that informs what comes next. These matches are terrible or incredibly boring, and you've just said it, so you kind of stepped on my dick, actually. You're not friends with Colt Cabana.
I got 15 more minutes.
Christ. Well, whatever. He's an asshole. I don't want anything to do with him anymore. And what have I done in this life to deserve a empty-headed mark like Michael Hamflett talking about WWE like this close to me the whole goddamn time? This might not just be bad early doors. What if... And if you look at the order of potential entrants here...
I know where you're going, baby.
Yeah, you know where I'm going, baby.
I know which two you're putting together.
Yeah. You have to really think very carefully about the order of elimination. You don't want this match memed. You don't want people to laugh at this. You want this to be this absolutely great, well-remembered match in and of itself, but then when it's over, look what more you're going to get. Look what was teased. You don't want this match to be a joke. What if the first two wrestlers in this match are Jimmy Uso and Tonga Loa?
Big Jim and Tonga.
Yeah.
Bad exchanges. For 5 minutes.
Things can only get better.
Hey. There's a,
It's time to play the game! Time to play the game! Ha 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 ha!
Which wrestler said this? It's a wrestler, right? And I was doing research for a piece that I am writing currently, and it's a pretty big boy on his approach to wrestling psychology. Said, I'm not very good at it, but I do really boring mat work early in my matches. So that when I do the high spots, people go all the more crazy because they're kind of relieved and excited at the same time. I'm paraphrasing. I don't think it's wrestlers, no offense to them, quite as articulate or as pretentious anywhere as I am. But I pretty much do boring mat work early that they don't want to see from me, just so when I do my high spots, they'll pop more.
That covers a lot of ground for the type of wrestler it could be, because you think, I was thinking a bigger guy at first, but then it's like, well, there aren't too many big guys that are associated with mat work.
Wrestler's not really active anymore.
Not an active wrestler now. It's not Hogan, is it?
No. High spots.
High in the true sense of the word, yeah. I don't know. I really don't know.
Not really active. So aware that they would...
You're right in the piece. Evan Bourne, Matt Sydal.
No.
Oh.
Because he's incredible at mat work.
I know, but I was just trying to
Yeah.
I was always very much like, grab a hold of and do the shoot stop press 10 times. Kidman was breaking guys' arms because they didn't teach him properly in a power plant.
Damn you.
Tried to take our jobs.
No, I've no idea.
What's your guess, mate? And then I'll give you a clue. that you will get a clue for you.
A high flyer, but is self-aware enough to...
Yeah, bit of patter as well.
Not Kenny.
Nah, man, it's
gonna
gonna
say,
be
like-
stupid. You'll kick yourself because
Christian do anything like...
Nah,
it wasn't really...
You'll kick yourself, and I'll give you the clue because you'll be like, right, yeah, there was some really boring parts of that guy's matches. We've, out of nowhere, and where's him? He's here. Pop from the two of us live in person together. Have one of the times of our goddamn lives.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, Sabu. I mean, I don't think much about his mat work, put it like that, but I get where he's coming from because he does this stuff where he dives for the legs and he tries to like almost amateur adjacent stuff.
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
anyway, let me get a table and do a double
Yeah.
flip off the ropes. Yeah.
There's a lot of
man, Sabu.
He's a guy who's much better in highlight reels. Like you think of Sabu and it's like this most
We lost it.
transformative.
We just wouldn't have thought of Adam Cole calling his
I know. It was absolutely crazy. I loved it.
Back.
I loved it.
Well, I don't want to see one of Adam Cole's friends. Sabu!
But it makes sense because you go back to all of those super exciting wrestlers of the 90s and you'd say, you know what, I'll go watch 5 Ray matches. I might have watched 5 RVD matches. Do I want to watch 5 Sabu matches? Really? Or he's the perfect highlight reel wrestler. So basically what I'm getting at now that we've finished the game is that if you have Jimmy Uso and Tonga Loa doing 5 minutes of absolute joke crap. Hey. Hey. Punch. Chop. And then Carter's like. It's Jimmy Uso. It's gonna suck ass. So as soon as Bronson Reed flies in, it's like, oh god, thank God it's over. How good is that compared to that?
Yeah.
So that'll be good. It'll be funny for me. I mean, I welcome it. Basically,
I'm wondering.
the world hasn't been right in my mind since WWE got this hot, and this match is basically like, I know it's the wrong pay-per-view. But you want to see the old posters, even the ones when the stars weren't as star-powered as they were. You see those Royal Rumble posters. It's like, hang on, you got Piper, Hogan, Savage, all in one match, and it's like it's a bit like the fallacies. Like it's a bit of a fallacy because like people are on the downturn and people are on at the height. But you look at it and it's like this collage of everything you know about a wrestling star in front of you in one match.
That's 92 in a nutshell, isn't it? When
That's
you see
the
them written
92.
down. Yeah.
If you look at the buy rate, look at where the business was, it's a fallacy, that poster, and honestly, a lot of the mythology surrounding that event, the most star-studded rumble ever. Not all of them are really stars that much anymore.
Yeah. People love like leaning on someone like Kerry Von Erich's out there, Slaughter's out there, and it's like, come on.
It's like
we're going back 10 years before they were at the peak.
Yeah. I mean, so we're miles away from the boot camp and from the Sportatorium days, you know. But this isn't a fallacy.
No.
You know, a lot of stars in this match and all over as hell, and people can't wait for them to interact. It'll be crap for 25 minutes, and then will Da Punk being involved and his sort of influence, his creeping influence. He's a clever guy. He's played balls. I'll behave. Night 2 of Mania, I don't need that. I'll do night 1. Don't need it. Yeah, I'll put you over, and then, I'll win, but, I'll put him over and stuff. And then he's like, right, well, I've look at my quarter hours on Raw. I've restored my trust, your ability to think of me as like, I'm just a model employee, solid citizen. Can I bleed in hell in a cell because I have to? Yeah, sure thing, Phil. We're going to see some blood and some WarGames for once.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Sorry, I've sworn a lot here.
Maybe. I was my sort of workaround I've pitched for the Big Jim Tongloa scenario, which I think we're all dreading a little bit. Maybe you're not.
I'm not. I can't wait.
But
Not for me. I like it.
both because it reflects the difference in who the character is now, and it justifies why he's so beaten down at the end to potentially lose. Roman Reigns starts, and then you don't actually get Roman and Punk together, because I think
I knew your remark, mate, but come on.
it's a money sort of thing of them two together, and you're almost preserving that. Him starting and then having to lead from the front is very much what this Roman Reigns would do. And if and when he loses, Roman Reigns protects his pinfalls. Like if he was to get beaten,
the money here is, well, who's coming out last then?
The
Who's
Punker.
the biggest star?
CM Punk.
No, right, calm down, man.
When you say who's the biggest star, that's CM Punk. That's the answer,
Roman
mate.
Reigns is the biggest star than CM Punk.
He is right now, yeah. But then if he's been in the match for ages, that just leaves biggest star CM Punk.
Okay, right. I know you like CM Punk.
People are going to be spending
I know you like
$50
CM Punk. What I'm saying is the story here
Yeah.
is these two huge egos.
Yeah.
And Roman Reigns is like, he's kind of threatening my star power. And then the rest of the actual bloodline are going, I thought we didn't care about you being a star. I thought you were the team player now. I thought you were here to uplift everybody else. And he's like, no, I want to be a bigger star than him. No. And then you get that tribal chief mindset coming into the forefront because he's like, well, I have to be the main event. And it's like, well, no, CM Punk can do that. You come and get in the trenches with us. Isn't that the point? He was never in the trenches. He said he'd be in the trenches. So the money is in them two interacting and like that.
Yeah.
No. You go out first.
Sami Zayn's starting this, isn't he? Safe pair of
Got any
hands.
sense?
The old Arn Anderson.
I get the
Get
workhorse
out there
in
and keep
there.
it, keep it safe.
Get Jimmy in, man.
Do you think the new bloodline win?
I
think the OG
bet-
bloodline have lost a lot.
They have,
And
and
they've been beaten down a lot.
to Sidge's point about Punk and Roman, you're asking at least a team that they are representing to lose, even if it's like Jimmy
You're
getting
asking
pinned or something.
someone
but like,
who's been in the match for 5 minutes to be on the losing end.
Yeah.
With them two. Now I think the new bloodline win. And then new bloodline win.
New bloodline win.
No, sorry. I don't go. OG bloodline. Whatever we're calling it.
Yes.
So OG bloodline win was kind of like an uneasy thing. And then Solo, who doesn't get pinned. You got that. Maybe Tama Tonga, because he's got a little bit more stock than Tonga Loa. Or Bronson Reed. Or, I don't know. I don't care. Anyone except Solo or Jacob for me. One of the other three. Then like there's an uneasy, okay, job well done. Gonna hand it to you, etc. And then Solo can do that, like rising up from the mat of like, well, there's still a war going on. You might have won this battle, but kind of want a piece if you factor in Crown Jewel. Well, it's time to bring in the man who's going to win the war. And then... It's a Raw comes out. It's a Raw.
final boss. You like double ring stuff, two ring stuff. What about if,
Final gloss.
as if to manifest,
Nice.
as if to manifest an earthquake amongst the bloodline, Tala Tonga makes his debut by being hidden under the middle bit, and he just pops it off.
Oh,
like
Paul
Paul White at Valentine's Day Massacre, but it's just boop through the metal bit. He's like, I've been under here for 2 years. I don't know. Like he just pops out and he's the difference maker. Some terrible looking choke slam or
It's almost as
something.
bad as him.
No,
Yeah, see how close those rings are together?
Oh yeah, it's not happening. I just
I've also
Is he slender? Is he?
funny to think. He is actually quite slender.
Is
yeah.
he Tombs?
I did pitch.
Tumatonga.
I did
Scared the out of me when I was younger.
Tonga.
X Factor, X Files.
X Factor.
I did pitch on our video version of this for the main channel.
Well, this plastic surgery's not that bad.
Gunther hitting a splash between the two sets of rings. He's going to have to give it nice and tight in there if he's going to do
What's wrong
that.
with you guys?
I did do it. It's fine. OG bloodline.
Bloodwine.
I'll be toasting.
MJF joining.
I'll be toasting their victory for the OG bloodline. Yes, they have to win this.
Oh, come on. You got to want it, Maxwell. Got to want it. I don't want to do MJF bits.
I know, I just think of wine at the moment.
No, but like it's crap, innit?
But yeah, I think CM Punk successfully teams with the bloodline. If
Lock in.
There's a bit of friction there. I think the shot of Solo, Jacob Fatu,
I love you, Solo.
Roman and Punk in the two respective cages. Once you've got the other six in there,
Jacob Fatu to mangle CM Punk.
Oh
in this match.
yes, just proper body. Just truck him at one point, like saying, "Punk's, I've got it. We're doing well." Bang, just like drills him with something.
but yeah, I think I don't know who gets the win on who, but I think New Bloodline, OG Bloodline, sorry, get the victory over the New Bloodline, and akin to last year, no one cares or remembers what happens in the match because of the post-match where The Rock returns. And like you say, that is the ball rolling for because long term, it's obviously him and Cody. One would assume, but he does have bloodline stuff to deal with. And someone in that match has caught his eye. And spoiler alert, it's not Solo Sikoa.
There's not that either show needs him, but it is The Rock. Like Saturday Night's main event or the Raw debut on Netflix are effectively pay-per-views, aren't they? So you've got like two things that you could then sell off the back of like actually promoting, rather than the Bad Blood and Survivor Series thing. It's like he's just around. The Rock is back at large, and he will be on this show then. It's not the worst thing for them to start being able to promote him rather than keeping him as a surprise.
And he could say, just looking at the calendar, I came back because I love the 30th. I really like the number 30 just generally, you know.
That's a classic rock.
Vintage
Classic
great on that, isn't it?
Have you seen the Moana 2 box office?
I cannot wait to see the film. So is it good?
I've heard critically if the first one was a family film 5 out of 5, this is a 3.5.
Oh man, what's going on?
I don't know, but have you seen the box office?
No.
I'll put it this way: it's awesome.
Oh, good. That's
Apparently, it's going to record haul for Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah.
It could be one of the most highest grossing films of all time if the current trends continue.
You're a Dwayne's man. I know Eric's quite young. Have you seen Moana?
Not all.
It is
so
class.
goated, man. Like I cannot wait genuinely to take the kids to Moana too. Like it's going to be an event. That
I know the song. I know you're welcome, obviously.
The film, man. It's a small part of a great film.
What's the crab song?
Shiny.
Is that your man from
Flight of the
Conchords?
Yeah, it's funny with it as well. Oh, it's such a great film.
It's class.
Shouldn't even work half of it, and yet like it's magic.
Well, if you like cinema, enjoy Saturday night. Survivor Series War Games. Let us know your thoughts, your predictions in the comments section below, or on X at WhatCulture WWE. At Watch, they can follow all three of us. You can follow Michael Hamflet at
Michael Hamflet.
Follow Michael Sidgwick at
Sidgwick.
Follow me at Adam Wilborn. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE, and make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts. And the three of us will be back on Monday to review Survivor Series War Games. But for now, this has been your War Games preview. My thanks to Hamflet Sidgwick. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.